DerbyNation.tv is your one-stop shop for your Demolition Derby pay-per-view needs. With a schedule like no other, you can catch all the shows you want to watch at the touch of a button from the comfort of your living room without leaving your house. But pay-per-view derbies aren't the only thing that they can get you. You can also carry a monthly subscription to watch the ever-growing Derby Builds, where you get all the behind-the-scenes action on different build processes with the Derby Builds team, including team show cars and even some national-level youth builds.
And if you can't make it to that big show in person, go ahead, host that shop watch party, and let DerbyNation.tv bring excitement of Demolition Derby action straight to your shop live on your TV. Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Nosed Derby Podcast. Oh, I sat in meetings all fucking week.
Hey, you loved it.
I don't.
You loved it.
I don't. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go on a little rant here before we start. Let me jump up on this soapbox right quick. Oh, hey. Speaking of which, I was in meetings, but I do work with other Derby guys. Mm-hmm. Got to kick it with Adam Fleming for a little bit.
Oh.
I think he might have me talked into running one of his shows.
That Houston show?
Yeah.
Everything I've seen is a good show.
Well, I like his rest repair rule.
Now, like the one that Grant and like Trey ran.
I'm not going to run the last one.
I was going to say,
maybe. I might.
Where you can throw every plate you have on it, maybe.
And then a kicker.
And then this 2x2 square tubing that goes from one spot to another.
I got to kick it with him. Like, I've got to talk to that dude, but not ever, got to actually.
Kind of on a personal level.
Yeah.
Kind of a, hey, what's up?
Well, because SAP rented out a whole bar in Powered Lights. Like, the whole bar. The only thing that wasn't free was hard liquor. Smart call on their choice.
And did you get to do some of those dollar scooter rides?
I was whipping that fucking bird, boy. Anybody that knows me or has Facebook, see me at a show, whatever. I'm 6'3", 330 pounds. Like, that's what I am. I'm a fucking fat dude that's tall.
And a scooter.
Yeah, well, we come out of the hotel, and it's a supervisor deal, for our training and all that shit. But there's still like 500 of us. Yes. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but there's a shitload. Well, they've got like these fucking tour buses that they're shuttling people over to this bar because it's about a half mile. And raining and shit in Kansas City. Well, me and my buddy Harry, we're like, hey, some bird scooters down there on the street. And everybody's like, you all aren't. We're like,
oh yes, we are.
This is happening. And I bunny hopped that bitch off the curb, and we took the fuck off.
Oh,
I had 2 beers down before the first shuttle bus showed up. 22 mile an hour.
No shit.
Oh, dude, whipping that bitch through the streets of downtown Kansas City.
The shame is so great on my face right now because at 22 mile an hour, 25 beers deep, you would have left 42 inches of body skin at Power and Light District on the sidewalk.
So I didn't ride it back.
Smart.
Because I Irish goodbye'd the shit out of everybody. They kicked us out of the first bar. We only rented it till like 9 o'clock, I think. And everybody's like, oh, we're going to PBR. I was like, all right, yeah. I was all pumped up and shit. And we get up there. I drank this beer and I stumbled a little bit. Like, not like fall down or anything, but I, kind of felt it. I was like, I have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning.
I really don't want to feel like a complete bag of shit.
And they were like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I got to take a piss. I'll be right back.
in my hotel room.
Yeah. I didn't tell them where I was taking a piss.
Nope.
So I was walking back through Power and Light, half mile by myself at night. These 2 homeless dudes come out of this alley.
Oh, shit.
Neither one of them had a trench coat on, so they weren't offering me drugs. I was like, damn, Dare, where you at now? Dude goes, hey, wish I could grow a beard like that. And I was like, fuck, what else are you doing? You've got nothing but time, motherfucker.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Well, I mean, what the fuck are you trying to look good for? So they had a, like, good sense of humor because whenever I said it, I was like, oh, man,
that's kind of a dick move.
That dude's like, shit, I never thought about that one. But
all the time in the world.
If anybody out there owns a company and they're wanting to get their team together and do something of that nature, like a little getaway summit type deal.
Team building.
Yeah, it is, but watch out for the keynote speakers. I'm serious.
Oh, yeah.
I mean this 100%. A little bit of it is okay. 3 hours of it.
Too much.
It was too much. Like, you got a bunch of people that work outside. They don't give a fuck.
About listening to somebody stand up in front of them talking through a microphone.
Well, and about 90% of every keynote speaker I've ever listened to talks about them fucking selves the whole time. But anyway, there was a point that I went on this whole tangent here. Speaking about talking and all that shit and me talking shit.
There's some shit talking.
And I love it.
That is amongst so many people if you are paying attention to Facebook right now.
There's not a whole lot of, like, air quotations, shit talking. It's just like, hey, motherfucker, let's get it on.
Yes. And what we're actually referring to is the Sturgis, Kentucky Wicked Team Show.
Yeah. I'm so not a raper. Well, you said let's get it on. I was talking about the fight.
Yes. These dudes are not backing down.
Well, we've talked about this before. You can't. Unless you want to look like a little bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm talking to everybody that hasn't accepted their call-outs yet.
Because there's several call-outs.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of them just happened like 15 minutes ago.
We've seen one confirmed.
Yeah.
And it was the very first one. When you're looking at, Brandon Palmer, what went down with him and Harry Hatton the other night at Wicked Warzone, that is just carrying over to here. Hey, let's get it on right off the rip, very first heat. Let's get it on. So that's what's happening. We say shit talking, but there's really not shit talking.
No.
But when you are throwing down a gauntlet to call another team out, we said it last year at Spring X. When EPR called out Misco Cranes, did we think that was the smartest thing to do?
No.
It's
but
not.
Did it look like you had to take a wheelbarrow to pack your balls around?
Correct. Oh, yeah. Because in that same token, they would rather run Misco Cranes head up.
Mm-hmm. Instead of with a hurt car.
Instead of the feature time when
because
it's multiple.
I don't give a fuck how good you are, how good of a builder you are, what your car is like. There's always something stupid that can happen. You take that kamikaze 45 shot.
Mm-hmm.
Your shit's fucked up. Well, say they dog walk their heat, and then you got to go up against them. Your shit's already hurt.
Correct.
They dog walked that fucking heat that they were in, lasted, 74 seconds.
Yes. Because last year EPR actually drew Norwood Fab right off the bat with Brandon Palmer and Will Norwood.
Right.
That was a rough ass fucking heat, dude.
100%. But could you imagine trying to go up against that if your shit was actually hurt?
Correct.
Because there's logic behind it. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, they're just getting that dick measuring That's some of it. It is. But there's a little bit of strategy there.
Why not take out a top team or have the chance of taking out a top team right off the fucking bat?
Without a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is the other side of that. You could not call them out. You dog walk your heat. They draw a rough heat. Then you have to go against them and they're hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But none of that's for sure. What you can do is try to face them right off the fucking bat when you're both fresh.
Yep.
Because I can tell you right now, we know guys on both sides of that,
mm-hmm.
Of the Harry Hatton and Palmer deal. Mm-hmm. Harry's no fucking joke.
No.
Palmer, for sure, ain't no joke.
No.
And you know that they're not on teams full of shitty builders.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is two dudes that are well, 8 dudes that can all build.
Well, let's break it down. Team KMP, Tyler Barber, Brandon Palmer, Jordan Faust, Blant Tillery.
Dude, Jordan Faust, every time I went to Hot Springs,
money.
You better watch out.
Yeah, and then he goes to Border Wars in 24 and run that bitch down to last 5 for Missouri running.
Yeah, you gotta watch him. I mean, because he is a very underrated driver, in my opinion.
And builds really good shit.
Whenever I went down to Hot Springs with Tommy, that's whenever I got to meet those guys. Fucking stand-up dudes.
Yep.
That's whenever Tommy's shit kept breaking tails.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan was like, I think I've got a slider and shit over here if you need it. So, and dude, I had never met, like Tommy and them had met him, but I'd never met him. And yeah,
Well, they called out Team CMO's finest, which is Harry Hatton, Josh Hamlet, TJ Garcia, and Ricky Brown. Couple of those guys kind of flown under the radar.
Local stuff.
Yeah. Radar to national level type of shit. But I'm positive this is the same team that Harry had last year at the Wicked team show as well. And they had some 03 loving going on. Next team, Team WAO, Austin Turner, Matt Embry, Jerome Weaver, and Les Johnson. Calls out Ken's Construction as Travis Watkins, Tanner Jackson, Trevor Smith, Dustin Richel. Team NEA, Kyle Wright, Brad Wright, Scott Wright, and Mason Shipman. Called out Team Detail Cartel. It's Jesse Gargas, Wes Gargas, Tanner Darnell, and Joe Smith. Hog Wild of Noah Aller, Tommy Goff, Gunnar Gerhart, Corey McKinney. Called out SER, which is Dylan Russell, Ryan Workman, Chase Potter, Harley Potter. Whew.
I wonder why nobody called EPR
out. Well, there's enough teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 14 teams. Egbert Racing, which is Derek Brock, Bryant Brock, Luke Warland, and Nathan Hull. They have not been called out or have called out. Twisted Metal Racing of Josh Ham, Tracy Pritchett, Dakota Lane, Derek Redmond. OTF, Tyler Goodman, Austin Raines, Corey Parrish, Zach Sullivan. EPR, Edmund Craig Lemonadger, PJ Snar, Phil Snar.
Which, I mean, we know how those guys run. They're bag
their dicks off.
I'm sure they'll all be in metric GMs.
Okay. The Bros Before Hoes. Carl Brockman, Nathan Buckland, Clay Kelly, Darren Hinkie. The Four Horsemen is Ethan Brown, Dustin Barksdale, Justin Lentz, Terry Burgess. Wide Open Motorsports. Tyler Sims, Hunter Slane, Tristan Abram, Brennan Williams, and Deaton. It's Daryl Deaton or Jarrett Deaton, and the other 3 to be determined. So there's a lot of other scenarios in that right there. Just talking about that list.
I really want somebody to call EPR.
I don't know if it'll happen because what can you gain?
An ass whooping early.
Yeah, I mean, we understand shit happens, but which, Mr. Old Rob, to be the best, you got to beat the best. And without a doubt, that is probably the top team that is going to be there. They've won that show before. A little bit different look. 2 of them the same, 2 of them a little bit different. And a build that's not quite as heavy as it was when they won it. So, you know, this shit is going to be off the hook. Man, we got some compact teams for that show. Nothing's really jumping out at me.
Their background pisses me off.
It's hard to read.
Well, you take somebody that can't read anyway, like myself.
I'll take that back. Luminasty is there. Brennan Kerr and Calvin Leonard again. Lane Poor and Jake Rush.
GH Graphics, that ought to be a pretty good team if he's sponsored.
Yep. Tank and David Smith, Ethan Clifton and Tyler Collins. Bush Light and Stripper Glitter.
I like the team name.
The team names are killing it right now. Willie Grubb, Greg Gerber, Jeffrey Mitchell, and Jonathan Painter. Jonathan Painter. That is a Kentucky guy who is willing to travel, and he don't give two shits.
Brian's Machine Shop's on there, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Landon Brake, Landon Roberts, Jordan Shelton, Sean Harrison.
That'll be a team.
Yes. We've seen the big cars do it, and I think the compacts, you don't see a whole lot of call-outs, whether it's much of a team show unless you've got James Smith and Clayton Fernandez there.
There is a team locally unknown, or locally hated, sorry. I hate that fucking...
Well, the name is actually locally hated, number 77. Then you got Chris Jackson, Shane, and Brandon Sturgeon.
Locally unknown. That's what that usually translates into.
Man, but if I remember correctly, them dudes fucking sent it last year.
Yeah, that's probably why they're locally hated.
Yeah, this... Oh, man, that's going to be a killer show. That's going to be one if you can't make it. That's DerbyNation.tv. Log in both nights. It'll be Friday and Saturday. Just another badass show. Speaking of call-outs, we spoke last week when we had Seth in here. Some stuff from demo. The new combat class where they're letting you go out and take some pre-runs and stuff, at King of Ohio in Lima.
And I was going to call them the fuck out if they didn't let pre-runs in it because they were pushing the shit out of that.
So we know at King of Ohio, you're standing there in front of God and everybody, and you're drawing names. What if they let some call-outs happen?
Well, see, I like that idea. It's kind of like, I feel like that might be a game changer for that big three. Mm-hmm. Maybe let some of these top dogs get in the room and be like, hey, I want you.
Yeah. Yes. Does Bruce McGuire want some redemption?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Does Pete Hansen want some redemption on Jeremy Heinen that put his ass on the wall? And when we talked to Pete, that has never happened in his career.
Right. Well, and
Jeremy said, see ya.
Lay down.
Stay up there for a minute.
Yeah. Go that way.
Rest of the minutes.
Uh-huh. Well, and I mean, but that could be something, across the United States. Mm-hmm. You might have Bryce Lanou might want a piece of Ralph Legis.
Correct.
Or, I'm just throwing names out.
Yeah.
Here. But, you might, like that shit, Adam Lemonadger, he might want, some of Chad Markley. Mm-hmm. Let them talk about it a little bit.
Especially when there's some beef, from 10 years ago or something like that. Because we always talk about Derby guys have the shortest memory ever until they don't want to.
True that.
And then they remember that wheel shot that they took at Blizzard Bash in 2017 on a red flag that is embedded in their brain until next week when I'm calling your shit out.
Uh-huh.
I think that could be a game changer.
It makes for entertainment.
And that's what this sport is.
What's our platform?
Entertainment.
That's what we are.
Mm-hmm. We might sound like a couple of redneck tardos
but we
behind a microphone.
Informative.
Correct.
And entertaining at the same time.
Correct.
Speaking of entertaining, we've got some team shows here in Missouri.
Yep.
That's going to be happening midsummer. Is that what you call that?
Yeah. Start of the summer, May.
Yep. And then Hell Month.
Hell Month.
July, man. That month is a motherfucker. I wish they'd just wipe it off the calendar.
Go from June to August?
Yes. Actually, we go from June to November. I'd be good.
A show that we really haven't got to touch on a whole lot is Badger Nationals.
Yes.
I mean, you got to think, guys, that's a month and a half away. And
I'm going to try to sneak away. That's my game plan. Because I got to looking, dude, I can drive it. Like,
oh yeah, it's only 5 hours.
yeah.
It's roughly 5 to Sturgis, 5 to to Madison, and it's not bad.
As long as I can maybe slide out of work just a fuzz early on Friday, I think I'm gonna try to sneak up there.
Because it actually starts on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But I want to be there for Friday, Saturday.
All the payouts.
Yeah.
They launched their drivers list. Vans, you got Joe Crawford, Ashton Duden, Ethan Ebert, Eric Greenlee, Jason Hernandez, Kim Harritz, Brandon Harritz, Cliff Heights, Chase Hubbard, Andrew Janish, Boyd Kelly, Joey Mundine, Skylar Raymond, Jordan Shermer, Roy Schultz Jr., Tyler Slim, Jablon, Nick Stesniak, Jordan Teasdale, Chase Vaught, Lucas Winfield. What me and you were actually talking about before we hit the start button was there is 3 one-and-done features of bone stock full size.
And that right there tells you somebody's paying attention.
Paying an immense amount of attention. You launch a 25 car list, it fills in 10 seconds.
Well, and I
Why
understand.
in the fuck wouldn't you launch another one?
Well, and I understand that there is a time issue there. But as long as that class is one and done, and there's only 25 cars in each one of them, dude, I have never seen one at one of these bigger shows that really, like...
About an hour.
Ish.
At most. That 40 minutes to an hour.
Well, there is that much time that needs to be ate up at some point during a show.
Correct.
You know, especially if you're starting at Wednesday, running it till Saturday.
Yeah, because they've got one on Wednesday, one on Thursday, one on Saturday. Because the Wednesday was luck of the draw. Brandon Albano, Justin Bublitz, Matthew Colum, Cody Drushel, Ashton Duden, Tanner Duffinson, Michael Gable, Bradley Geiger, Richard Golder, Cody Heveted, RJ Legis, Kyle Worm, Nathan Truckenbroad, Justin Strike, Joel Stevens, Lucas Steiner, Trent Ruth, Toby Rootner, Hunter Portson, Zach Ullman, Dustin Mickus, Stacy Morano.
Yeah. Well, see, and if I was going to draw for out there, or you know, which he
You
was going to
fucking, you want Wednesday.
Fuck yes, I do.
Yes.
Let me show up, unload this motherfucker, run it on the track, and then let me put the piece of shit back on the trailer.
And drink beer.
Yes.
The rest of the entirety of the show.
Yes. Or at least sodas or whatever, you know.
Soda waters. Because Thursday night, it starts out with Mitch Carlson, Mike Duffy, Matt Ellensworth, Tyler Foster, Chad Grunwald, Ralph Legis, Logan Peterson, Brock Rowan, Jacob Volk. You know, that's a full list. And then you go on Saturday, you've got Colton Dvorak, which he is no stranger to a show like this. Two Rodensmiths, the Roman and the Dan Rodensmith and Danny Rodensmith, that were all up in Pecatonica last year.
Yep.
I mean, they run the stock shit minus 5X.
Right.
You know, for that. Plus Bob Whitaker.
Yeah, well, see, save prime time for prime time. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm good with that. But give us dumbasses that, you know, are wanting to run that easier build and stuff like that. Give us that shot.
Yes.
And if that's what it takes to split it up between 3 days, where we can get at least a little, you know, see how that feels.
A little primetime action.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm good with it. Mm-hmm. I don't expect to be the fucking main event in a stock car. I don't. Not at all. There are shows like that out there.
Promise you.
I mean, there are places that you can go that are that stocker built. Well, Freedom Hall is going to be one of those.
Bingo.
The way that Robbie's wanting to take that show, that's what that's going to be. But you get to go run for Ultimate Derby. You know, you get because anybody that's ran for Sam, you can always find faults in anybody. But for the most part, every show that I've run of his, I haven't had a whole horrible amount to say bad about anything from tech to calls on the track or anything.
Correct. Because one thing that I noticed when we were in South Dakota was Sam he was on the track some. But, Chris was on the wall. Brad Bowman was on the wall. And all their normal guys. Because Sam was up with me most of the time watching overhead with not just him. There was probably 3 or 4 other ones with stopwatches and everything else. So you're not worried about the 6 sets of eyes that are around that track when you've got 6 more up above.
Well, the only discrepancy that I've ever even really had with the dude, well, and it wasn't even Sam. It was, Chris and a few of the other ones whenever they were checking my car in at Whiskey. I'm not saying we were standing back there about to fist fight or anything, but that was the only, discrepancy that I've even...
And that is that interpretation.
Right.
That's what that was.
Me and you kind of knew it whenever I was putting the car together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought I had him beat, and finally we come to the conclusion that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I think...
But the thing about that, right when you said that right there, a lot of the promoters or techs or whatever, if you beat them on a rule, they'll bust your balls on the next one.
Right.
They didn't do that.
No, not at all.
Well, if you got, you got that by me here, but hey, this right here.
Right. No, we were legit. It was, and it wasn't even one of those, it says 2 instead of R or, whatever.
Yes. On to.
Yeah, it was not one of those situations. It was a bumper bracket issue is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a Mopar. I kind of knew I knew that the argument was going to be there before we showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was what it was.
Yeah.
But it said you could run a factory. That's what people get for writing rules to Fords. It is what it is.
Yeah, factory bumper bracket. To the car, well, yours is long as shit.
Yeah, I mean, it was a Mopar bumper bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I never even moved it. And they were like, well, you got to cut this off. I was like, fuck you, I'm not cutting that $50 bumper shock off.
We're talking big difference when you just talked about a $50 bumper shock.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like you're cutting off T1 bumper strap 14 inches.
Well, and again, it was more of the principle of the matter.
Yep.
Not the $50 bumper bracket because I've scrapped several of them.
Oh, yes.
Because a Mopar bumper shock is kind of a thing of the fucking past.
Yes. Yeah, especially when, everybody's letting you hard nose them or, cut them back. And
it used to be the thing. Like, if you had to say, you had some money.
Correct.
Laying around.
Well, there is kind of a show that didn't really fly under the radar in 24, but it was a change for us around here.
Right.
Bowling Green, Missouri, we've always known that as Bud Shootout. Ultimate Derby had it.
Uh-huh.
It switched to Domination Motorsports. And CDDA took it over. We've talked about it. It was a really good show last year. They did a 2-man team show.
I was there.
That was at stock. Not complete bone stock,
the stock rules that I kind of like.
Yep. Like get your motor swap.
Yeah.
Slider, all that good
tank
shit.
protector.
Yep.
Good cage.
Yep. What it should be. But they're not running the 80s and newer.
Right.
Because they do a King of the Ring as well over in Linn, Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
If you kind of have an idea or don't have an idea of what that show is, you can go on Track Shot Live and look it up.
It's cool. The way they run shit over there is a little different.
It is.
It's cool though.
If you get pulled for your Mad Dog out of your heat, your team goes and you get to start working on your car instantly in like a little special pit. Because Dan Mars and Jason Dials got pulled for it last year out of their heat and just went full send. X Factor, did X Factor shit as normal. But man, you see these cars hurt. You see these cars bend. Bowling Green, we've talked about it. Austin Johnson and Brock Hill and Cody Hendren, Blake Holtz were in some clean ass old irons. Dustin Kelsey and his teammate going full tilt. It's a really good show. So they did a little bit of changing. CDDA didn't get to really partake in this change, but it went from a 2-day or a 2-man show to a 3-man show.
Yes.
I have mixed feelings. We have actually talked about that. You know, there's guys like, well, what's the big difference? You know, well, if you had problems filling it with a 2-man, now you got to take a half a team away from somebody else to get them on your team. So now it's me, you, and Seth instead of me and you and Seth and Landon.
Right.
So now we've got 3/4 of 2 teams.
Well, let's get somebody on to talk about it.
Cool. Be right back. JM Race Engines is a new business in north central Missouri that have you covered from top to bottom for all your engine needs. Purpose-built engines with the correct amount of clearance will get you to the end of any show, whether it's your local shows or on the national level, where you can't be let down by your equipment. With top-level professional machine work to all engines, your choice of build is totally up to you. JM Race Engines will give you the confidence to push your equipment to the max while giving you your preferred horsepower to boot. From LS builds all the way to your exotic level small blocks that your imagination can only dream of, they have you covered.
But it doesn't stop there. They are also a speed shop that carries a variety of heads, carburetors, intakes, plug wires, helmets, and other safety equipment, and the best VP fuel on the market today to take you to the top. So if you're wanting mild build to wild build, let JM Race Engines help take you there. Well, we had some questions about Bowling Green, Linn, Kansas. I said, let's get somebody on that might know something about it.
Might know something about something?
He knows a thing or two about it.
Number 36, Mr. Chad Markley and CDDA. What's up, buddy?
Hey, not much, guys. Glad to be on here with you.
You know how long we've tried to get it lined out for you to actually be on here? Roughly about 2 years.
Well, why didn't you just call?
Well, I didn't know if you actually had a working phone because I know watching your guys' lives that you have struggled with internet.
I wasn't going to go there, Chad, but he's being a dick.
Come on now. Now, I'm getting a lot better. Give me a little bit.
Let's talk about it. You've kind of trickled over in our neck of the woods and put on a hell of a show last year. A few changes this year. You want to go into a little detail about what's going on there?
Yeah, I mean, we changed a few things in the rules and a little bit of the format of the show to a 3-person team instead of 2. The Fair Board had some requests from multiple people, and they wanted to go the 3-person route, and I didn't oppose it because I think it's a little bit better of a show, but it's a difficult field because getting that one extra guy to run with you. So that's where we're at now. We
had touched on that a little bit before we called you. With that being and I'm going to use this in quotations, like a more of a fair show or a local show, you're almost breaking apart another team to fill that 3rd spot.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, because it was easier for the guys to reach out and the buddies to kind of split up and grab that guy that they don't always run with and bring them in, like you say. So, that's the tough part.
But if they're going to run it, they're going to run it. I mean, you'll find a third. You know just as well as I do, if you're going to put a team together and you want to run a show, you'll find somebody to fill that spot.
Well, yeah, exactly, and it's great money over there. They're paying the money's still the same, good as it was last year, 10.5, and it pays down. It's on the web page there and stuff. It pays down. I think top 5. It's 10.75, 3.21 or something. Don't quote me 100 on that. But,
yeah.
It's darn good money and it pays down.
Yes, 100%. Like, I mean, nobody goes to a derby with the intentions to lose, but if there's a little payout, if you do, it doesn't hurt anything.
Correct.
Yeah, it's nice to spread it around if you have that much money. I think it's 18,000 total. No, that's that's Burlington, Kansas. We got 18,000 to work with. We're like at 31,000 at Bowling Green. What we're working with there. So,
and a badass facility.
Yeah.
I mean, the facilities over there is killer.
Yeah, the crowd's great. They get into it. We've I think this is our third, maybe fourth year there. We've always had good shows, whether it's rain or shine. We get the show put on and give the crowd something to cheer about.
Well, this year you keep that rain in fucking Kansas because that shit sucked last year.
You know, we at some places, we get paid extra if it rains when we're there. Kind of like Texas down there, they appreciate the rain when I come. But yeah, I'm with you.
Well, I didn't think it was too bad, Chad. It was pretty dry when I was there.
Yeah, yeah. Some people were luckier than others and only came the day it wasn't raining.
Well, let's jump into Linn, Kansas.
King of the Ring, dude. That's something you guys started a few years ago. It's kind of a bone stock motor swap class, but your guys is how you have it set up. You can drive full tilt retard, like Dan Mars. Is if you're willing to push your equipment for a good 2 or 3 minutes, next thing you know, you're pulled to the side and get to start working on your shit.
Yeah, that's the King of the Ring, and Linn is a bone stock show. So it is basically, we give you a few things, not much. But yeah, we stop that show halfway through, clear the track off, allow you a pit stop per se of about 15 minutes. Whatever you can get done in that 15 minutes, you're allowed to do, besides any welding or anything.
I bet there's a shitload of 9-wire headed out there to the track when that happens.
They're more worried about a radiator or tie rod or things like that, and tires. Lots of tire changes. We had a guy change an axle in that 15 minutes. So it's interesting. The crowd likes seeing the guys work on their cars, how much they can get done.
How'd you come up with that format there? I mean, like, what were you sitting around the shop, or were you
please tell me it was your idea, not fucking Leon's.
Well, it was not Leon's, but it was not mine. We kind of inherited that show from Nebraska. It was more of a belt show when we took it over, and we weren't getting a car count we liked, and we moved it around a couple places. Ran it in Nebraska one year. It actually originated out of Linn, Kansas, the way I gather it from the Dittmer crew, and they put it together in Nebraska. It kind of fell apart. We took it over. And then we finally, me and Leon said, let's try King of the Ring bone stock in Linn. Let's bring it home. And that year, I think we put 30 plus cars on the track at the same time, because it's everybody's at once. There's no heats or nothing. It's a halfway point to clean it off and get your repairs. So that's how that kind of came about.
What's the facility like there in Linn?
We kind of named it the smallest town with the largest derby. Linn's, I think, about a 400 or 500 person population. The SAL, Sons of the American Legion, is who hires me to promote. They work their tails off. The track is beautiful. It's kind of set up similar to Bowling Green. Concrete blocks all the way around it, a nice level field out there to run on. They've put in some announcer stands and nice bleachers now. So a small and very nice fair type atmosphere with a concrete barrier clear around the track.
Hell yes, it sounds well. And I've watched the video. I figured we'd explain a little bit to the people that haven't got to see it. It looks like you all pack it every time you've got a show over there. It looked like the stands were completely full.
Yeah, it's not a fair. It's their festival. It's their harvest festival, I believe. So, which is a long traditional festival over there. So, I mean, it's got parades and all that stuff, and DJ at night, and it's it's a fun little deal for everybody.
I love hearing that because that right there just screams small town America to me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, it does.
You know, just that fair and festival season demolition derby. You know, the kids and stuff have been to the parades and stuff during the day, and they got to do their, you know, they're walking around and stuff, and then wham, that night, here we go. It's time to watch the cars run into each other.
Yep.
Yeah, and amazingly enough, we you know, it's not a big paying show, but it's a cheap, fun one to run with the bone stocks, and we draw, you know, a few out of staters, and even all the track shop boys there a couple years ago came down and ran. We had Fatty and Jimmy and all them guys, Ticks, all them guys were running there a couple years ago at Linn. So.
Well, and I love talking about shows like this, and I'm glad we finally got to get you on here and talk about it, because what I call shows like Linn, Kansas and Bowling Green, Missouri, I call those hidden gems, because, you know, they might not be the biggest payout show, but there's always a badass crowd there supporting the drivers, and especially, you know, with like CDDA putting the show on, you got a good tech, you know, you're going to get a fair shake. And you're going to get to run this team setting. I mean, you're running a national level setting show
For $10,000.
Yes, but you're getting to do it at home.
Yes.
Right, without having to travel too far and get treated. You know, we want you there. We need you there as much as the fair does. You get to run in front of your local sponsors, your friends and your family. They don't have to sit there and watch you online or anything, or hear about what you did. They can come out, drive 30 minutes and come see you and enjoy the whole atmosphere, the food, the festival, the beer gardens, the camaraderie of everything.
That's why we love talking to promoters that are taking the time to do that stuff, because I know, and you know, and Derek knows, hell, everybody listening knows, you're not doing this to get rich, because it doesn't work like that.
No, we're not. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of risk up there on the other end of the spectrum trying to promote them big shows. We've done a few bigger shows, but really to stick your neck out like Demo is, or Smash It, or Sam is with UD. I mean, you've got a lot on the line, and it changes things. And I don't know. I mean, the risk is there and the rewards there both. But we've got to protect our the fairs and festivals, because that money they make off their derbies goes so far in the community for 4-H and other things that that's why the fair boards really like the derbies, because it really supports everything they do.
Yes. Well, I love it. You know, we've got a local show here in Shelbina, and you'll see a derby run there. Like, we had 103 cars over there one year, and the next year we seen 2 lean-tos pop up for the show kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that right there was enough for me to come back and do it again, because we knew that what we did, you know, for our measly little slice of that was worth it, because now the kids have more facilities, more opportunities to do what they're loving to do, as well as a badass show to watch right there in their hometown.
Right, and I mean, that's important, and the fair boards realize too, a lot of them now, that they're having to put more into the derby to get drivers from a little bit further away, just because the circle is a lot smaller than it used to be for drivers and cars and everything, because the price of everything. I mean, you don't have the 50 hometown guys that you used to. You might have 20 if you're lucky at some of the hometown shows. So they're relying more on travelers and everything else, and then that makes it very important that you do your job as a promoter and show zero favoritism, or treat everybody as equal as possible, even though it's county fair and there might be some differences in builds and everything. You've got to learn to, I guess, be educated enough with your inspectors and different area of rules that you can get everybody into the arena and feel like everybody's car is equal, even though it's not. 100 and 110% because there's used cars and stuff mixed in there.
Well, one thing that when I talked to you at Bowling Green last year is that I think one night you had 2 or 3 separate shows going on. So you had 2 or 3 crews at 2 or 3 different shows, so you're actually sitting there taking phone calls from your other tech that was at another show with questions of, this is what he's got. And I mean, I sit there and I think I know you got 3 of those phone calls at least where somebody was trying to put some shady shit past your other techs because they knew that you guys weren't there.
Yeah, yep, that'll happen. I mean, everybody gets comfortable with who's inspecting their car. And then, if you're not the guy there, they might think they can push something, or they want to ask, well, who's going to be there? Well, it doesn't matter who's going to be there because we're going to try to follow the same standards that we have, whether I'm there or Leon's there or Fisk is in charge or Casey, my nephew Casey, was running the one show. They're going to try to follow the same standards that we've done for 20 years. So they've all been around it enough and know what I expect.
Well, and one thing that I really liked about Bowling Green, because I got to follow you all around there for a little bit, got to watch you tech some cars, got to watch you retech some cars. There wasn't any of the bullshit fighting, and the screaming and yelling. I hate that shit. You all are very, very good at de-escalation and
professionalism.
100%. And I watched some legit questions that had me a little stumped whenever we were riding around on that side-by-side, kind of checking on everybody whenever they were working on cars. You had a couple people rehorning cars and stuff at the show and asking you questions. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make the decision on that.
Yes.
And you and Leon did a little huddle and talked about it, come up with a reasonable solution. Driver was happy. You all were happy. And the competitors that were running against the car in question were happy. And that right there is a recipe for a successful ass promoter.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so like the rehorning of a car at a team show like that, you cannot put a rule in play because then it's going to be tried to be stretched and manipulated where it's a gray area thing. So I'm not opposed to letting somebody do something more than what's in the rules to get the car back to the track, but that's all got to be a judgment call. As much as you want to keep judgment out of it, you've got to have it, and you've got to have enough experience and common sense to work with the people and to keep the other guys that aren't doing it happy and let them know why you're letting them do it, and you limited what they could do, so it was not better than it was when they came in the gate. I mean, and I think I've got a lot of experience in that area, and that might set me apart from some of the others, the common sense of it, and trying to work with everybody to make the best show for the people in the stands that's paying the money. I mean, and make the best show for the other drivers to feel like they were treated equal as the car that got to repair something that wasn't exactly per se in the rules.
Well, and that was a big deal whenever you all first come over here. I had a lot of people asking me, and I'm nobody, but I had talked to you, and, we've run into each other at Blizzard Bash and stuff over the years, and they were asking me, well, what do you think about this guy from Kansas coming over here in our backyard putting on this show? I was like, well, you ought to be happy because that looks like the best situation, best case scenario to eliminate favoritism because he doesn't know any of you sons of bitches.
No.
Yeah, and that's what I tell, some of my fair boards when we bid these shows and we talk with the fair boards is, when I leave town, most your bitching and crying leaves town with me. And it's done until next year. You keep it local. Everybody seems to know what everybody's doing in the local area, even though half of it's BS and half of it's not. There's no secrets in the Derby world. So if you think you got a friend coming by your shop, he's probably called me and told me what you're doing if it's not legit. I mean, it's a sad situation on that. So, but it is good, and I do know a few of the guys down there. But even the guys that run for me around here, locally, they know I don't care. I'm not there to make their life easier and make somebody else's harder. I truly believe that's elevated the CDDA drivers to a new level, because they can go compete anywhere because they've had to run on as close to a level playing field as they would anywhere, and they've learned how to drive instead of build a car that you don't know you're getting in with.
Well, that right there is building the next generation of big show drivers. That's what that does.
Yeah, so, last year, not 24, but 23, each of the three main classes at Blizzard Bash was won by majority of CDDA drivers. The mods, of course, and then the limiteds and the street stocks.
Cheaters.
They all had a lot of CDDA drivers on those teams.
Well, you just kind of said something, so let's get off the promotion side. You guys have a show coming up. The driver's list has been announced. Capital Carnage 2025, Topeka, Kansas, right in your backyard. February 28th, March 1st. You guys are running the street stock class, which is a little bit different than what you are used to running over at the Stormont Vale Event Center. We saw you last year, I think, kind of in a stock car-ish with the Lincoln, where you tried to do some axle delete out the tube and then all the way back in. Am I correct to this statement of Dr. Feelgood and the dirt bags?
Well, yeah, that is the team. We're with the Kitchell's had a story that come out in the local paper about he was I think number 13 of the Feel Good Story of the Year, so I started calling him Dr. Feel Good, and it kind of spun off from there. And then, of course, somebody said, well, he is the dirtbag hero, so I'm like, well, we need a team name, and he wouldn't he wouldn't come up with it, so we kind of come up with one for him.
Oh, so that's kind of a new look.
That's a completely different look other than you and James.
Yeah, we've got some different guys on the team. Brent and Barry. It's a 40,000 stock show, and we would drive anything as a team. Brent and Barry are going up to Madison that week after because it's 30 minutes from home. Mm-hmm. Chicken's going to be running his mod, so at Capitol there. So I pulled in them guys. James kind of had a spot as a winner from last year, and I'd already talked to him about, hey, let's do this thing. And then everything come full circle, so I pulled a couple guys that run quite a bit of my shows in there with us.
Adam Klein being one of them, who is not a joke. He runs very good at your all shows. And
a builder.
Yeah, you actually brought him with you guys to King of Ohio for your pit. So I figured anybody that you are going to trust to be your pit guy, you are going to trust to run with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been around it. His family's been around it. He's a good hand, good driver. And then we got Derek Funk. You guys haven't seen much of him, but he dominated the area for quite a while.
We've heard the name. So how are you feeling? Pretty confident? I mean, with everybody's drive style meshing good for that team.
They should know what I'm going to do, so I'm not too worried about that. Derek's ran with me before I was a promoter a lot. Of course, James and he's kind of the unofficial fifth wheel of Team Kansas, if you might say. So I'm not too worried about James. And Adam, he's been around. He's ran with Chicken enough that it's a great fit. We won't have a problem performing as a team. So.
Well, how did you and Kitchell, get hooked up? Because you guys went to Bristol in 2024. He teamed up with you guys as well on that pro side. You guys ended up second. How did you guys just get that hookup where you guys started running with each other instead of against each other so much?
We've never had a battle. So James has ran for my sister with GSA in Illinois, Missouri, and she's got shows in Kansas also. They've been, promoting for seems like 50 years, and I don't know the number, but it's probably one of the oldest promotion companies in the United States, truthfully. And James, ran a lot for her, and I would early days go up there and help inspect and help with a few shows up there, Indiana State Fair, Illinois State Fair, Missouri State Fair, and some of the other ones. And I just got to know James that way. Very respectful, good driver, always there at the end, usually not abusing his equipment, and just a guy that if he gives you his word that, hey, we can work together, or hey, I've got too many buddies here, you know 100% where you stand.
Yeah.
So, a trust factor there, and just good drivetrain. We've shared stuff. He builds his own motors. I build my own motors. They're pretty similar because we've shared recipes, for 10 years on this or that. So it's just one of them deals that, the time's never been right for him to be on Blizzard Bash with us. But, the time was right here, and then the time was right for him to come down there with Team Kansas at Bristol also. So,
well, we'll quit hounding you on your team choice and why you did it. Yeah, I think you gave us a pretty good answer on that. Let's spring off and talk about a little demo stuff. You good with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, what's your thoughts on Demo 2? Let's talk about it.
King of Ohio.
We've had a little growing pains as an organization. The King is considered Demo 2. It will be a possibility of 50,000 to win the format. The 3-on-3 winner moves on. It is something, if you've got a used car, a Blizzard car, a Gold Rush, Bristol car around, we've adopted a set of rules that allow all three of those builds to come compete at Demo 3 in the King class. So get that car out of the woods and come, because last year was the first time I went up there and ran that big 3 deal, and the heads up, it was a team show atmosphere as a single competitor, because you could not afford to not take a shot if you had one on either of the two competitors that you were out there with, because it was a kill or be killed, just like a team show, except for it was a singles format, which was great. I like driving that way. I like knowing that everybody has to elevate and drive a little bit harder than lay back.
Well, the action was badass.
It is. It really is. Like I said, it is a team show atmosphere and pace into a singles format in the heats.
I mean, even though you're in a Camaro.
Yeah. The Thunder Chicken.
Now, you touched there a little bit on the growing pains. We had hit on this, what was that, a week or so ago? We seen there was a little charter switch up, which that stuff happens. I see everybody talking shit on Facebook, which is a really good platform for that. People are good at it.
Yeah. I've learned that that's a good platform for a lot of things.
What's your thoughts on the new additions to the charter side of things?
So basically the new additions, they have to, when somebody sells a charter, they still have to be approved. I just can't offer you my charter and say, here it is. There's a little bit of, I guess, a couple steps that has to go through. Is there something bad out there we need to know, or are you going to be able to hold up your end and do some of the internet, Facebook stuff that we require to promote the show? Are you just a bad character? So them guys kind of were vetted. They're going to be a good fit. They're obviously competitors, so that's the most important part there, because we want the best that we have on the track at all times, to produce the best show of competition level from top to bottom. So I wish the other two members, I wish Caddy stayed on there. I had a great time with Rob, with some of the stuff we did together as the chairs of our both of our divisions. We went through some battles there, and it was a lot of fun now that we sat back and look at it on some of the decisions that had to be made. And Octane, I mean, I got to know Dylan better than I had. He's a great sport, great competitor. That whole team is. I'm going to miss them on our side of the house, and it's just a lot of fun to them guys to give them heck and give them, kind of razz them a little bit here and there, and they're not afraid to give it back. So I hope the other ones can take the inside humor that we kind of have there and not take it to heart too much.
Now, one thing that we did when we talked about King of Ohio in 24, we Stephen and I talked to you and Adam and Leon and everybody. You weren't really a fan of the rules for that show, but that was kind of before you guys were able to get your feet in there and kind of maneuver some stuff around and do a little bit of changing. Do you foresee an issue of such again for 2025?
For the King itself,
yes, sir.
For that class?
Yes.
No, because we know what we're venturing into. It's not a 5-foot car, so don't get that mistaken. But we know what we're building now, and we know there are some limitations. It wasn't that I wasn't a total fan of the rules. It was the at the end, the interpretation of the rules that got spun out of control that I was not a fan of. That it just kind of blew my mind on why could you think outside the box like this and this be okayed.
Well, and we seen your car. That shit was like legit.
Yeah.
Like the rule set had to do a shit ton with your car selection.
Yes.
Yeah, it allowed me to save a more expensive a ride and not build it and take what I took because of the rule set. And basically, I wasn't worried about making that car a throwaway car where if I'd had to build the wagon, and basically couldn't have ran that car anywhere else because the rules were so different from anywhere else I could have ran. So to make that, I just considered it a throwaway car because it was a cheap body and a cheap, the boat tail rivvies aren't at the high end of the food chain. So it made sense. And then with a few rules that I asked the wrong questions and got the wrong answers, it changed my mind. So
yes.
Well, I know everybody about shit when you pulled in with that.
Yeah, and it did its job. The car didn't lose the show. The driver let the car down and got the steering locked up there when we got down to third there. So
I mean, you're only 18 foot in the ground or 18 foot in the air.
Yeah, they tend to fly and land better than the wagon.
Not as much ass weight as a wagon.
Right.
His rear end said differently.
Well, I'm going to ask Chad. This is something I've been wanting to ask you for as long as I've been going to Blizzard Bash. Where did you running the wagons at all national level shows come into play?
Well, that's kind of a misconception because in 15 we won in sedans, in 17 we won in sedans, but when things were stock, the Stalker Mayhem shows, the wagons shine so much that you had, if you could build them and find them, I felt like I had no choice but to take wagons there in a stock type setting because they just shined and outlasted. You had so many more hits from the back. And you didn't have to use the front till it was time to party. So, So I guess that's where that started. And then once we've exposed a few things in the rules that I thought would benefit the wagons, that's when I started bringing them to back into Blizzard after we brought the Buicks, after Jimmy kind of started we started playing with the Buicks when Jimmy, that one year, we all had Fords, and he brought the first Buick back, built like the Fords, and cleaned house with that Buick. And then that kind of changed the face of Blizzard Bash, in my opinion, when that happened. Then the next year, we all brought Buicks on the team, and we had fun.
Now, so I am going to ask this. I believe it was the year when Jimmy brought that Buick. Was that the heat where he actually got pushed out? And, you know, on a show of that magnitude, I'm not going to say gameplay. It was part of that. But, you know, where guys will kind of push somebody out, act like they're hurt, you know, stuff like that, where as long as they're out there, they can still fix that car, do what they got to do for the next run, no matter if you're winning or you're losing that heat. But is that dollar sign and the competitive juices make that shit happen?
Yeah, like, I don't remember if that year he had a tranny issue or something, and we pushed him out so we could get him repaired for the next round. But if you're in a four-man show and you got to be a car down, that's you're at a huge disadvantage to begin with. So,
Yes.
And the money wasn't that great back then. I mean, if we sat back and look at the evolution of Blizzard, them first years we were only running for 10,000 to win as a team. And then it went to 20, then it went to 40 and 50, and now we're going to 100, just like Demo did. Demo pushed the envelope on the money for everybody. You know, everybody risked something at Demo, and it caused a chain reaction. But it's just the competitive nature of not wanting to lose at a show of that level, I guess.
Well, we have talked about that a lot, is, you know, these payouts. The only people that are actually benefiting from payouts such as $100,000 or $50,000 or whatever is the drivers and the fans, because every badass driver is going to these shows to run for that huge amount of money, and the fans are getting the baddest show possible, whether it's on pay-per-view or whether it's in the stadium itself.
True. So if you look back early on, the venue and the show enticed the drivers and the fans, because like I said, early Blizzard was 10,000 to win a four-man team. 2,500 a person. Well, you could go run around home for 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 to win at most any state around. You could find them shows. So the venue and the prestige of that show was the important thing, 15 years ago. And the same thing with Mayhem. Mayhem was 10,000 to win, but it didn't pay crap down. It was like 10, 3, 1,500, and that was it. Mm-hmm. But it was the show, the atmosphere, the sold out crowds, and all that started everything. But then the competition got better on the promotion side of it, and now the money's back in play where it's substantial. I mean, if you go in 100,000 and get 25 apiece, I mean that's a big deal, and
Yes.
And that's why a lot of the top name teams are starting to show back up and want in and come back around, even at Blizzard,
Well, you just talked about Blizzard. Are we going to, we know everybody is so goddamn secretive. Is it going to be pretty much your same team look as what we're used to seeing, or are you guys going to pull a rabbit out of your ass?
I don't know that we don't really have any rabbits. We're never really secretive on who's running on Team Kansas. So it'll be myself, Chicken, and Brent and Barry both. I mean, unless something in life changes that, we're a pretty tight group. We don't have to worry about if somebody's going to get a car done or show up. We know what to expect from each other. I guess you guys seen us around our pits. We're not a bunch of, even under pressure, we still like to have fun and keep things moving, and we don't get down on one another if one of us screw up, or we'll give each other hell if somebody's car screwed up or something like that. But our team, we're there to have fun, but we're there to compete at the highest level. So I think we probably do the best of both of them. As I see other people's teams not really strategize, work together in the pits. I'm running around in our pits with my head cut off, making sure everybody has what they need. Everybody's sharing thoughts on how to repair the cars, or, move a plate here, move it there. No, let's just not worry about that. It's a true team atmosphere over there.
Well, how in the hell do you guys promote all the shows that you do for CDDA, help your sister with grandstand some, and build and be a governor for demo?
I don't know.
Do you just hate your fucking life that much, or you know?
Takes a lot of Miller Lite.
That's something I can get behind.
Well, Mr. Chad, man, we appreciate you getting on, taking the time with us. We were definitely, depending on schedule, I'd at least like to get over to Linn this year and watch that show in person instead of just on the TV. And then,
hey, you guys, if you make it out this way, we'll definitely take care of you. And you guys are more than welcome. Come back over to Bowling Green and, push some of them locals. And if you guys want to step in and be a guest inspector with me, I'm all more power to that too, to really get your eyes and hands dirty and get the locals comfortable with what we do and see that we're an open book as a promoter is a great thing. So, I don't know why, but people seem to like you guys and trust you. So I'm on that. I haven't figured that out yet, but
neither have we.
We ain't either.
But I'm here for you guys, just like you're here for the Derby world. So I do appreciate what you guys are doing and picking up the pieces where some other people left off.
Well, as soon as we get a little bit closer to Linn, maybe we can slide over that direction, meet up with you and Leon, and do a little bit of a on location
precursor.
Yeah, and really push the shit out of it, because I know that I'm going to be working in Lawrence, Kansas a shitload this year. So
nice. I think you'll fit good in Lawrence. It's kind of a liberal.
Easy, I knew that. Easy.
He'd be better off in Leavenworth instead of Lawrence.
Well, he'll be close. If things go bad, they'll give him a ride up there.
Well, bro,
man, we'll let you get back at it. Supposed to have some good weather rest of the weekend here. Maybe you can light a barbecue grill or something. Maybe roll a car in.
Oh no, it's already in. I'm ahead of schedule. The frame's pretty well done. I've got a tranny on the table that's half done, and we've already started on the body work. So
where's Chad? I knew we weren't talking to Chad.
I was going to say, so now you can kick Leon in the nuts, because he's always saying how much of a procrastinator you are.
Well, I am, but I get 4 or 5 pieces of the car started, and it don't look like I have anything done, and then all of a sudden, everything gets put in one pile. And I'm like, how'd you get that done? Well, I've had this sitting over here done. You didn't know about it.
Before you get off here, Chad, I do want to touch on this, because I've given you shit about it. We've had some fun with it. I want everybody that listens, the next time they get a chance, if they just happen to be strolling through the pits or whatever, look at Chad's car. I just want them to look inside Chad's car, because I watched them when they were videoing at King. They were looking Pete's car all over and JT's car, yep. And they just kind of like they skipped over Chad.
Well, I don't like all that fancy stuff in there, because it usually takes up too much room, and I don't have a place to put the trophy when it's over.
That's the answer I was looking for.
That's a good ending right there, Mr. Chad.
So, appreciate it, guys. Give me some guys over there at Bowling Green, and you guys come on over and have a good time like you did last year, and you guys don't bring the rain with you, or else they'll probably not let me have you back.
Well, I might not be able to be a honorary tech this time, because if the Utah deal doesn't work out, I will probably be in a car there.
Perfect. Good. I'll bust your chops through the line then.
Oh, no. I'm the guy that shows up and get a stick first time through, and then I'm pissed off.
Well, why'd I do that? Yep. And then if you're out in Lawrence, Kansas way, working out there a bunch, we'll get you the CDDA schedule, and you can drive your happy ass in the middle of Kansas and do some derbies out in the middle of Kansas.
I can handle that. Well, thanks for your time, man. We'll catch up with you.
Anytime, guys.
Later, brother, man. Appreciate you.
Yep. See ya.
All right, bye. This episode is brought to you by Broadhead Decals. From door wraps and roof signs, window stickers and banners, let Broadhead Decals take care of all your vinyl needs with only quality products used.
Justin's graphic design abilities will get you everything you could ever want. With super fast shipping, their turnaround time is second to none. So let Broadhead Decals take you to the next level. Triple B's Tees offer custom shirts and logo designs for all your apparel and merchandise needs, offering a variety of shirts, hats, hoodies, tumblers, and koozies. Triple B's will work with you one-on-one to personalize and perfect your logo. With over 5 years in the business, 20 years in the sport, they live for Demolition Derby.
Chunk and his crew can bring your imagination to realization with zero limitations. So for all your badass tees, choose Triple B's. Well, we figured talk about something that knew a little something.
Well, and that right there is a man of many hats.
Oh.
We only talked about a few of them.
Yeah. We're not talking about regular life.
No.
Plus this and that and this and that.
Because that's another guy there. Like he works.
Correct. He doesn't have a 9 to 5.
No.
He's got a dawn to dark.
Oh yeah, he works.
Yeah.
But that was Mr. Chad Markley. If you've never met the guy and you see him at a show, go up to him, talk to him. Mm-hmm. He's fucking hilarious.
Oh yes.
We
let him have about 3 or 4 beers in him.
We sat out there at King and laughed and laughed and laughed.
Well, there was some
easy.
There were some lives that got deleted.
We don't need to go into all that.
We're gonna blame that on Leon. Which
Jay Styles.
He was the interviewer.
Yeah. But no, hell of a group of guys. I know that I'm not really talking to our whole listener base whenever I say this. There was some local people that weren't sure about the change. I'm telling you, have faith in the process.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you guys, he hasn't been around here long enough. He's still feeling this out. Like he's still trying to figure out what you guys are wanting. And the fact that he went from a 2-man to a 3-man at your all's discrepancy. I mean, it was something that the locals took to the fair board that Chad didn't push back on. So, I mean, it's not like he's trying to steal your show from you. He's not trying to change it into something that you don't want. He is trying to build that back to what it always has been.
Yes.
And in my opinion, he's doing a hell of a job. Leon could be doing a little better
on his compact side.
Gross.
I just wish it was the weekend before or the weekend after Utah.
Right. Well, talking about Leon for a second, he gave me so much shit in the tech line at Bristol. Like looking at shit that I know for a fact he wasn't looking at on other people's cars. Because I told him, I said, boy, she's legit. I said, you ain't going to find nothing.
And
he said, I'll find something. I said, start digging, buddy.
Good luck, Bubba. Good luck.
Because Derek, seeing the bullshit rigmarole I went through to find my rear end and all that stuff that had a set of good gears in it and all that shit.
Yes.
But, man, big shit coming. Dude, and I love seeing local fair show, county fair promoters doing what he's doing right there. I hope nobody missed it and they all understood what he was getting at right there. That he loves doing this at these county fairs because I know roughly what he makes off making and he's not charging enough. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he does the same thing for Linn and all that stuff. But did you hear that?
For Bowling Green?
What?
You said Macon.
Or Bowling Green.
Okay.
But I'm sure he does the same thing for Linn.
And works like a fucking dog.
Well, yeah, but he loves that money's going back to that community. That, that fair board is getting to throw dollars at, the 4-H kids stuff, shit like that. I love it.
Well, I think it's that time.
Tales from the trailer. You want me to read it or you got to read it?
I don't care.
All right, I'll do it.
It's anonymous.
Fair enough. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh man. Okay, I'm skimming over it, guys, just to make sure that there's no names before I do this. Okay, as told by him.
Yep.
The old man and his friend, we'll leave the name out, went down to Kansas to the Kickapoo Reservation because a guy was selling a running, driving mint 74 Impala. I'm going to go ahead and kind of set the mood here a little bit. I've been on reservations before. Indians are a different breed of people. My whole family lives on the Cherokee Reservation down around Salsall, Oklahoma. These motherfuckers, they don't ever register these. Half the time they drive them, they quit, they park the fucking thing, they go buy another one. So that's kind of what you're dealing with. And most of them are drunk. And I mean that with all
Fireball.
Yes, firewater boy. All right, so mint 74 Impala. The old guy that sold it to them told them they needed to come there during the day and could not come at night. Okay, see, I hadn't even read this yet, and I told you all, the reservations, that shit's sketchy. When they got there, they saw stuff hanging in trees they could not identify at all. The old man told them that to not stop for police, stoplights, or stop signs. It's legit.
Yes.
They are the police. They loaded the car, didn't even strap it down, and got out of there within an hour. Keep in mind, I've got no recollection of this, but the old man said he took me along and I was barely out of diapers, just chilling in the back seat the whole time.
Yeah, that's
that was more of the scarier side of the tales from the trailer.
Yeah.
Because I understand we're all, we laugh about this and we joke about it, being in the hood and stuff. Well, I will go to any hood you want me to at night
before
at 1 o'clock in the morning,
reservation.
Before I slide through the reservation at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd rather have a flat tire on Prospect Avenue in Kansas City.
Oh, shit.
At 1 o'clock in the morning than I would driving across the reservation.
That's saying something.
It's real.
It's a little sketchy, is what you're saying.
It is. And then if you're a white man, it's worse.
Well, I can't say how much we appreciate Chad taking his time out on his day of chill. It's probably not chill. He's probably just lollygagging on getting some shit finished on the car.
That Leon does.
According to Leon. But, guys, if you haven't looked at this show, get on CDDA.
Yep.
Midwest Championship Derby. You can go right to the rules. It's a pretty...
cut and dry rule. So.
It is. The build isn't crazy.
No, and if you have questions, you're going to talk directly to Chad or Leon.
Correct. Yeah, those numbers are on their flyers. They're on the rules page.
I mean, I know a lot of people. Chad ain't gonna be able to get in his car after I say this, but don't feel like he has the time to deal with, them. They feel like he's probably farming that out wrong.
No, he answers those questions.
Yeah. And like I said,
now, if you ask him a stupid fucking question that is in the rule, you're probably going to get a stupid fucking answer.
Right. But and not really, and you won't if you're new or because dude, Leon and Chad both. If you have demo questions, dude, talk to those guys.
Yes.
All the charters that I have been in contact with, and I got to meet a bunch of them while I was at Bristol, dude. They're all laid back, good dudes.
Yes.
Hell, Chad's won Blizzard Bash how many times?
5.
Yeah. And me and you sat back and drank beer with him.
Cold beers.
Yeah. Well, I drank a lot of his cold beer.
I tried the Blue Top.
Yeah, dude. I
like that better than the regular Corona because regular Corona, I've told you, tastes like ass. Anything you got to put a fruit in to make it taste better, I'm not all about it.
But I feel like he kind of cleared up a little bit of the loose ends on the charter deal.
Mm-hmm. So just not anybody can be a charter.
Right.
That shit's got to be approved.
You think they'd let us do it?
Probably not. I don't know.
Dustin,
we don't have charter money.
Dustin, Brian, I just want to know. I just want to know if it's even a possibility.
I don't have charter money. I've got broke ass grocery money.
Well, Mr. Rob Hewer had on there that he was willing to do some trading for his charter.
He did do some trading.
But I'm not trying to buy a charter. I'm fucking with everybody. I don't need any more stress. Hey, babe, I mortgaged our house again some more. And I had some more. I had to. I've got to put some teams together for this show.
Yeah, I'm out.
She cut me
deep.
She cut me.
Like to the handle of a very long knife.
And I'd probably be asking for it, really.
Yeah. We have always enjoyed going to Utah, right?
Oh, man.
Stir and Dirt, their Day of Reckoning show, was just drawn today, when we're recording this. They did stuff a little bit different this year. They took 18 people that had qualified from 2024. So your Heat winners, your Mad Dogs, your B main winners, and your A main winners had a spot as long as they wanted it. So they drew for 22 other spots today. A couple weeks ago, I was out to JM Race Engines, and we were talking, and he said, man, what's that show that you guys go to? I said, well, it's Day of Reckoning, Utah State Fair. He said, I want to run it. I said, well, get on their website, and you can get signed up. So he gets signed up, and the lucky bastard, Johnny spins the wheel today, and Micah's name was the first one that hit the wheel to get his spot for Salt Lake.
I wouldn't even talk about it because he pisses me off.
At Salt Lake City. But what's cool, Clayton Ransom, he got a spot. Chance Ogden got a spot. I think Austin Nicholson, who's a good supporter of that class and that show. I think you're going to see a pretty good diversity of drivers this year, more than we have seen the last 2 years.
So what you're saying is Micah better hold on.
You better hold on and get ready to start building.
I know what he's taking.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about it. He's like, what do you think? I was like,
yes.
Yeah. That one that you've got right back there.
Oh, she's sharp, too.
Do that one.
She clean.
Take that one.
Uh-huh.
But
it's a metric GM.
That's them putting the finger on the pulse. You know what I'm saying? So if they got 40 guys.
It doesn't matter. Dude, Johnny and them, they know what it takes to make a show work. I can beat that until I'm blue in the face. I'm telling you, them guys out there are, you know how I'm always talking about Brian being articulate and what he does? Well, Johnny's like that, but behind the scenes,
yes,
throwing shit together. And it's not like he's just throwing a shitload of money at this.
No.
To make that happen. He is doing what his drivers want. He knows what fan base is there. So they want action. They want fast paced, and they want that show to be over in about 3.5, 4 hours.
Yep. Because they get bored.
He knows this. Well, and he's got a badass dirt guy.
Yep.
Well, you put all that shit together, and you've got Day of Reckoning.
Yep. That's right. 10,000 fucking people.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Brad Bowman got a spot as well.
And that's what I love right there. We've talked about it before. Promoters supporting promoters.
Other promoters. Whether you don't, even if you don't like somebody on a personal level, which we have talked, there's promoters out there I do not like on a personal level. I don't really like them on a professional level either. But
Yeah, that's because you're an asshole.
I am kind of. But when you go, when you know you've got buddies that go support those shows, you're going to go to support that show.
Hell yes. Well, how many times
I just
we
don't wanna
went
talk to
them
him.
and done shit and push shows that I'm like, man, fuck that guy.
Correct.
But I do it
Yep.
for the sport.
It's kind of our job.
But you've got Johnny and Brad that are like, dude, they talk.
Yeah. The
Communication.
Old
is
Iron
key.
Wire, Brad writes the rules for Old Iron Wire. So they can, all the shows, they can run the same Old Iron Wire rules.
And what's crazy about that is those two dudes are so in tune that their interpretation of the rule is real close.
Yeah, you know, when you got Dale and when you've got Justin and you have
Will.
Steve Lamb, yeah, Will Steinbeck, all those guys. It's just
Yeah, but then you got Brad's team he's got a badass crew as well.
correct.
And whenever you've got that national level driver teching your shows,
Yeah,
you've got something. Well,
Yep.
you get the same interpretation across the board.
then that's the way it needs to be. I wish it was the same way around here, but it's not.
No,
you know,
because you've got never
we
mind.
can, we can
Nope.
shit in one hand, wish in the other,
Not
and it's
even-
never going to be the same, even if they all ran the same rules.
I'm not even gonna go there.
So, but man, Chad, thank you so much.
Hell yes. I'm glad we got to talk some shit on Leon. That made me
That's
happy.
the fun part. That really is the fun part.
He'll listen to it.
Oh, I know. Just make sure we got cups on if we do go to Linn.
Well, I hope that I have lived up to Leon's expectation. I did take his constructive criticism, and I have pulled it back to a manageable amount of F-bombs.
Yes. Except for a few episodes.
Well, if I'm drinking, we got to watch out. Recording.
That's why there is labels on every episode.
Yeah. With some of the sponsorship opportunities that we've got and stuff, I have been cleaning up just a touch, just because professionalism on their end needs to shine through us. I'm getting fingers pointed at me right now. I think he flipped me off. Might have told me to steal second.
I didn't. But there is something I completely forgot about, and I dropped the ball for Triple B's Tees. I am so sorry to Chunk that I did this. He has a code.
Oh.
So when you get on his online store, whether it's Hard Nosed Derby Podcasts, hoodies and shirts, or
Which are badass. I'm looking at one right now.
EPR, for Spring X, Live Last Toaster Bath, Chance Ogden, whoever, if you go on to his online store and type in, there's going to be a little code box. If you type in 3B as in boy, T as in Tom, S10. So that's 3BT-S10. If you punch that into the code box on his online store, you are going to get 10% off. Add it on to the other 10% off. But that does not include the mystery box.
Right.
So the mystery box is so cheap, he can't really give a code for
Yeah,
that.
well, you don't need a code for that because that mystery box is so cheap you almost can't afford not to buy it.
Yes. Yes. Because it's just derby shit. It's derby swag.
Well, my wife and I have been talking about ordering that mystery box for a couple of our friends.
Correct.
And just having it sent to their house. You know, and it's cheap enough that you can do that.
Yes. Yes.
Because I got some friends that, you know, they dabble in the derby world, but they're not, like, committed to it. And whenever I take them to derbies with me, I'm like, come on, you got a fucking baseball shirt on. What are you doing?
We're not at a St. Louis Cardinals game.
Yeah, get that shit out of here.
Yeah. So, guys, JM Race Engines. If you need that engine, if you want that crazy
Parts.
wild horsepower, the parts, helmets, gloves, fire jackets, carburetors. Some Adam Lemonager fucking knocked your carburetor off your intake. He's got them in stock.
Yeah.
Good
He's probably
shit.
got the intake with him.
Yep, he does have the intake with it.
And if you want them wraps thrown up on that shit, get a hold of Broadhead Decals.
Triple B's tees for all your hoodie and your shirt design needs.
And if you can't make it to the show, DTV.
Yes. All for him racing. If you want to get on there and catch up on a day of relaxation, you ain't got shit going on. The kids are being good. They're in their room junking.
Dude, I got a story about
Matchbox.
the All for Hims. I was sitting in the living room. I got up. I wake up early. It was about 6 o'clock. I was sitting out there drinking my coffee, sitting in my recliner, flipping through YouTube. Mm-hmm. Wasn't shit on I wanted to watch. Started watching derby videos. My 3-year-old blows through the door, comes out there about 8 o'clock.
Normal cracked out self.
Oh, yeah. What are you watching? Oh, I said, derby videos. Can I sit with you? Yeah, get up here. He doesn't want to watch a whole derby.
Nope. He just wants to see somebody get their shit cleared off.
100%. And then after that, I watched him tear the wheels off of 3 of his Hot Wheels.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, and see, I got in trouble for that when I was little.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't.
No.
I'm like, here, man. Hey, hammer. You can get.
Hammer it, crease it. See that quarter panel? Crease the piss out of it.
I'm like, oh, fuck that box Chevy, boy. That cop car. That's the strong one right there.
For all your fuel cell needs, Fisher Built. I know that he is kind of not around right now. They're doing the storm cleanup. Hopefully he can get some stuff taken care of when he comes home, comes back, but you can give him a shout on Facebook and he can get you hooked up on a 10, a 17, or a 27-gallon tank. You have one.
Are badass.
Yes.
I've still got one in my car.
Yep. So, thanks everybody for this fucking killer ride.
Our numbers are looking ridiculous.
Yep. 2025 is...
What was it whenever Dogecoin and all that shit was coming out? To the moon.
To the moon. Yes. Well, Brother Man, you got any last words?
Nope.
Make junk, boys. Fisher Built. Fuel tanks are the next generation of fuel tanks on the demolition derby parts market to date. With stainless steel construction, every tank is internally welded, braced, baffled, and pressure tested, with 2 standard size options available.
Fisher Built tanks have you covered. From your local county fair shows all the way to your national level events, where you need maximum fuel capacity and structural integrity to get you to the end. If you are in need of a next level design tank, or you just need a second fuel tank for your new setup, give Fisher Built a chance to earn your business. You won't be disappointed.